Hi, I'm Tony Bové. Welcome to this week's episode of Art V. On this program, we'll chat with artist and architect Manuel Canestrini and artist Tamar Chaya Gordon. But first, art. Things changed for art sales when investment in art was taken out of superannuation, and so far, nothing has happened to take its place.
It shows when you have a show like this, a group show with 40 people in it, how many people come out to see the work and really love coming out and seeing the work. And it's not only about the art, it's about the social occasion that art does to bring people together.
Art is a very, very important part, whether it be music or making, sculpting, painting, whatever.
Bit of history.
To actually make people feel good.
What does it mean? It's culture. It's what's represented in the artists represent what's going on in the community, and it needs to be shown. It needs to be expressed. We don't want to be going to the old art gallery and seeing dead artists. We want to see real artists. We want to buy real artists and support artists in the local community, and that's what it's about.
I think art is the most important thing to any community, and I think a country is defined by its culture, and culture is defined by its art.
St Kilda has always been the mecca of art. I mean, arts, the arts, music arts, all sorts of different forms of arts, and I think that's what the bohemian kind of nature of the area brought people like that here, and we don't want to lose that. It's really important to our identity. It's very much, the Nick Caves, the Paul Kellys, the artists, that live in the area and frequent here. I think it's a very important aspect of what makes this area so unique.
They might like some of the work and they change their mind to put some art on the walls. It will encourage people to say, instead of having cheap reproduction prints on the walls which yellow and look ugly, they could put something funky and amazing on the walls which will last for years and look great, which would put smiles on their faces and make their homes more cozier. Also, some of these artists might become famous, and it's a good investment.
I've been in St Kilda for quite some time, back in the late 80s, and just to watch those artists they were everywhere. There were musicians, there were poets, there were writers, there were people with brushes like I do. It was all here. Over the period of time, everything has moved over to the north side, and it's such a privilege to see this wonderful group of people coming together and bringing it back to the south side, which is where it all started from in Melbourne,
It brings a lot of people together in the one area, and I think it's very important for people to be able to express themselves, to look at art as well as to do the art itself as well.
And the culture.
Yeah, the culture, everything that's brought together with it, whether it be the artists themselves or the people that actually see it.
So, although we have to sell art and people like selling art, they also like showing it, and people like coming together to celebrate art.
We need to have more permanent art sculpture in the area, more galleries, more people coming out of their homes. Instead of going to the art gallery and going to see Van Gogh, go to a local art gallery, buy a local artwork, feel proud that you've bought that artwork, enjoy it, and and yeah, support local artists.
Tamar explores the intersection of language and material through performance and photography. Tamar works intuitively, playing with the power of the subconscious and chance. And she joins us now. Hi, Tamar.
Good, thanks. How are you going?
Terrific, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. A lot of your work, you experiment with a few things, obviously materials as all artists do, but photography and performance, I've noticed that having a look at your work online, bit of photography and performance in there, and a bit of an unusual combination. How do you work all that together?
Yeah. Well, I find photography really helpful through documenting my studio, through documenting, things in the outside world, myself in the outside world. So I think I use photography quite unconventionally. I'm very, very happy to use my iPhone to document and photograph things. So I find that more as something that's really helpful on the side of my practice. And yeah, performance has been something I've just recently gotten into. I find that really helpful as a way to express things and find new ideas through that. I haven't done anything yet on a big stage, but I think performance can be, something that is a part of an installation or an artwork that doesn't necessarily have to be really controlled and, on a stage with a director and a producer.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, if we ever get the incarnation, we've got all that down here at the Alex Theatre, so all in time, but we'll keep you in touch as to how we're going when we're ready for those facilities. But now, most recently, you held an online auction, or was it an online exhibition for What Lies Between? Is that what it was called?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was called What Lies in Between.
In Between.
Do you want me to speak to that a bit?
Yeah. What was it about? How'd it go?
It was actually for a thing called Limud Oz, and they run educational workshops surrounding ideas and Judaism. And this year they initially asked me, when it was supposed to be in person, to curate an exhibition and get some other local artists that I knew of. And so that's kind of what I did. And then with COVID happening and everything, we had to shift on, which was really interesting because all the artists that I managed to get in touch with, there was one person that was living in Sydney, I had an artist from Perth, an artist who was living in Tel Aviv at the time. And so we'd never actually met in person, but we were communicating on Zoom. And we started to notice that it was really interesting with each other, but we collaborate. So what we kind of did was actually send each other 3 of our own works, and then everyone had their own freedom to then create new works from someone else's already made work. So that was quite interesting because we all had really similar ideas and ways of working. And we got to a point in time as well when we realized it was starting to feel a bit random, and we really needed a text or an idea to then bring it together. And so we read a text by Daniel Drubach, which is about Judaism, brain plasticity, and the making of the self, which was quite interesting. And we kind of extrapolated from that through repetitive actions of rituals, we actually produce spiritual outcomes. And so that was something that really grounded our work. And then we really created from that place. But as we also would check in every week throughout this process, we started to notice that putting that text aside, it was actually the process that became really interesting, and that it was actually about all that was happening in our check-ins, in our WhatsApp chats, and work sending each other, and our communication was actually the center of the project. So yeah, we decided to call it What Lies in Between, because we found that the process of talking and Zooming and miscommunicating as well was really part of all of it. And that very much was represented in how we were making the work. So, we were basically hijacking each other's work.
Now, you've got a walking tour in mind. Is that what you pitched?
Yeah, so the project that I pitched was, exploring sound and sight to try and create a guided walking tour around the park, and also maybe in some surrounding neighbourhoods to really look at, our connection to nature, land, and also this repetitive action of walking. I think we've all walked a lot more than we ever have during this COVID lockdown.
True.
And I don't know, I think there's there's been a spark that's been reignited for, this love or power or importance of walking and what we see on our journeys.
Yeah. Well, today I think is November 6th, 2020. We're just coming out of all of the lockdown. It's been a common theme throughout all of our past 9 episodes, because it was 2020. It was like the COVID series. But I've noticed that this walking tour, this was actually such a positive from the COVID restrictions, because it inspired you to get out there and fall in love or look for the lust in the neighbourhood as a thing. Yeah, great. That's a great positive, considering the year we've had, that you've turned it into a positive project.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Penny.
Well, I was looking at your work earlier via the email you sent me. Fantastic. It was fun, it was colourful, very, very vibrant. There was a couple of pieces of art that drew my attention and loved them. Witches' hats, you've arted them up, the council witches' hats. What was behind all of that? Because they were spectacular.
So that was from thanks for asking, from a university project that I went on a Japan study tour, and part of that project was to actually, create a physical work. And I was very, very inspired by the urban environment and the colours and the spacing of everything in like Japanese urban environments. And so I became really obsessed with witches' hats in Japan. There's lots of different colours, and they're really placed in a way that's very much matched to the environment. It almost looks like an exhibition in itself. And so when I came back to Melbourne, that was all I could kind of notice. So don't tell council, but I did manage to steal a couple from the street and have a bit of fun with them. And just look at the idea of urban environments and, how that is in itself creating a really interesting space, when really all it is just construction.
Exactly, but a good use of probably redundant old ones that they didn't need anymore, which they're the ones to grab. Cool. But it was really great. Loved looking at that online along with all your other work. So Tamar, now you're in residence as an artist at Gasworks. What's it like?
Yeah, it's super fun, super friendly, communal vibe. I've already met some of the artists around here, and they've all been so helpful. And I'm really excited. As I said, it's my 3rd day here, but really working closely with Tracy McGurvin, and we're going to be focusing a lot on also, a professional development side of the residency, as, this is the first 3-month residency that they've offered, and so that's a big part of what this residency is about. So I'm really excited and feel very lucky and fortunate to be a part of their first ever 3-month residency. And for me, it's the first residency I've done, so it's kind of the perfect match.
Thanks so much for your time. Good on you, Tamar. Great to catch up. See you soon.
See you soon.
Manuel Canestrini is an architect by trade and an industrial designer by heart. He founded and launched Melbourne-based Formacy in 2018, offering industrial and product design. Welcome to the program, Manuel.
Thanks so much for having me here.
Now, you're originally born in Germany?
Yes.
And an architect by trade.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the influence in Germany to take you into this field?
Well, I always wanted to be an architect already as a kid. I just thought it's a funny sounding word and I was really attracted by it. So it would have been either an architect or an astronaut. And, and I just went into a career as an architect because as an architect in Germany, when you study architecture, you basically have the whole field of design covered. So that also includes interior design, that includes furniture design, and a lot of other areas that you could specialize in.
Yeah.
So it was actually just logical to do that and to work as an architect afterwards to just get that feeling on how you do things and, you know, how you actually produce something. And,
sure.
Yeah.
And so you arrived in Australia in 2006,
Mm-hmm.
and in 2018 you founded Formacy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an ex-media background person. Branding's extremely important, but I really like the name Formacy because as you've got on your website, you prescribe fun, funky, innovative, novel, but useful products for around the home. They're a little bit of fun and aim to make us feel a bit better. Yeah.
Yes, that is actually my take on product design in general. I'm very much guided by something that is either practical and innovative, but also has a bit of fun in it. So it always has a playful twist about it because I think there are so many boring things out there already.
In 2018, when you launched Formacy, it's an industrial design or an industrial product design bureau based in Melbourne. So all the products are made in Melbourne.
Yes.
Yeah. How did you launch it? Because I'm just wondering, I noticed that you were in the Design Week, Melbourne Design Week in 2018, which sounded really exciting because there was 3 different designers. You had a Chinese automotive designer, is that correct? You were the German architect?
Yes.
And you had an Israeli...
Industrial design.
Industrial designer.
Yeah.
You brought all those 3 forms together. I want to know, I mean, obviously, A, was it fun? What came out of it? But also, did you use that event to launch your business? Because we try to give some advice about taking advantage of marketing here for the artists.
Yes. So the whole show was called Decoding Design, and it was actually about figuring out how we are influenced by our cultures on how we see certain objects. And the idea was that we took an iconic object of each country and each designer had to produce its own version of it. So meaning 3 different objects. One was a pagoda, one was a German cuckoo clock, and the third one was an Israeli menorah.
Right.
And just for example, my menorah was basically a wall made of individual wall panels, 7, that you can put on your table, and each of them contains an oil light, whereas the central one would be elevated a little bit. And the whole thing was painted by a friend of mine who is an artist as well with a mural. And the idea behind that was that it was a bit of criticism between on how Israeli treats Palestine and the West Bank barrier. And for me as a German coming from a divided country, it was really important to put that into some kind of product. And I haven't gone much further with this specific one, but I really want to launch it as something maybe as a vase or something like that. But I still like the idea of those elements that you can add and can also take apart so that you can build walls or make them disappear again. And all in all, the second part of your question was if I used it to launch my brand. I actually did.
Yeah.
It was a very good opportunity to get people in, to show them around the actual exhibition, and to also launch my own brand. And also the other two participating designers showed their stuff as well. So it was not just about our exhibition for this specific task and topic. It was actually showing what else we have to offer.
Right, so a bit of an awareness campaign. It will certainly help to awareness for your product by being there. But you weren't, that show in it's the week of Design Week, were you able to man it?
Well, it's
interact with people who are having a look?
Yes, so usually how it all starts, you do an event at the beginning. Most people do that at the beginning, some do it at the end. But you do an opening event, and usually this is the busiest time.
Right.
And then during the week, people will come in as well. And especially on the following weekend, there will be more visitors because most people have to work during the week. But there will be the one or the other person coming in, and it's important to be present on the weekends because this is when people come along and you can talk to them about what you have done, about your brand, and do some marketing for yourself. Yeah, that is very...
hopefully we'll be able to see some of your homewares, because looking online at Formacy, I've had a look at the lights, and there's obviously some homewares, but the other thing that really got me is a very funky trampoline fruit bowl. Wow, that is innovative.
Yeah, the
and quirky.
it's at the beginning, Formacy was actually founded by 3 people, but it didn't really work out. So the trampoline is a collaboration.
Yeah.
But since I took over the company, I also took over that design, and I really want to push that further. And the idea is actually, it keeps your fruit much fresher for a longer time because it doesn't dent, and it gives you hours of fun because it's bouncy and your kids will love to play with your fruit. So it's just this is the kind of product that I like to do. Something that is a bit playful, where you can move things or just have fun with it.
I had a laugh when I saw it. That's certainly unique, because I would never have imagined it, you know. Anyway, I'll stick to what I do. But gee, I'm sure people would love to have a look at some of your stuff, possibly for this Christmas.
Yes, and they
Bring
can...
a bit of fun into 2021 at the end.
Yeah, definitely. They can either do that on the website, or they can just go to the Storehouse, who have supported us from the very beginning.
Barclay Street, near Inkerman opposite.
Yes, it's just on the corner where the Bitches Back used to be, which I think most people in St Kilda will still remember. And it's a funky store, and Thomas has always supported me very much in getting my brand out there. So I think people should support him as well. He has really some awesome stuff there from a lot of artists.
Fabulous. Well, I can't wait. I'll stick my head in December, have a little look-see and see if I can find some of your stuff. Because we're friends with Storehouse, we love them, supporting each other both ways, so it's really helpful.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time today, Manuel. It's been a real pleasure catching up with you, and good luck with everything, especially this side of Christmas. Revamping the website, joining the new partnership. Good on you.
Thanks for having me.
That's about all for this week. If you'd like to get in touch, just shoot us an email at ideas@studioemedia.com.au. Thanks so much for watching. Look forward to your company next time.